Oh, we might be back in. So, everybody clap your hands. I like it.
We're back.
Okay, I think we're back. I didn't say anything important except we announced the winner. I think we got through that. We got through that, didn't we?
Yeah.
I was talking about our class packs.
Somebody put thumbs up if we're not frozen.
Huh?
Thumbs up, everybody.
Yeah,
if we're
everybody
not frozen.
thumbs up if we're not frozen. Okay.
Stuck still some places.
I can't see any. Do you see thumbs up? We can't see that because we're not on the app.
I see it.
Okay. Good. Well, let's hope we're back because I don't want to show you this slideshow unless we're all back because these are some amazing quilts that some of our students have started. I should say started because some of them are just topped, some of them are quilted. And we're going to have lots more amazing, spectacular Velocity and Lucy quilts coming. And we, of course, want to share because the beautiful thing is they're all so different. Same pattern. Lucy has multiple different layout options. And then, of course, adding different background options for both Lucy and Velocity just brings out the variety of styles and finishes. So
I think you should announce the winner again.
Oh, the winner?
Yeah.
Okay. The winner of the $25 gift card was Laura Swenson. Congratulations. And I asked if you had the chance, would you go to outer space or do you know somebody that has been? And she said she's going to stay grounded on Earth. And I'm right there with you, Laura. So send us an email to help@gequiltdesigns.com, Laura, and we will to claim your gift card, and we'll send it to you right away. To go shopping.
Yay!
So those of you that we froze, don't worry. I am repeating everything that happened in that time. So we are going to show you now the slideshow of the Lucy and Velocity quilts that got started during our class packs, Geasy class packs, volume 2. Now, this is our class series, so a lot of quilts have been started, and it's not, you don't need to keep up with it because you have the videos forever if you join that class. So we're going to see a lot of quilts being finished later, but let's take a look at some of those amazing quilts that have gotten started from our Geasy class packs, volume 2. So there they are. Aren't they gorgeous? And we're going to have more. So make sure if you are on Facebook to join our Goodrins Quilt Crew, our community. We will share there. And, of course, try and share some amazing quilts coming up. Great job, everybody that took the class pack. And you can still purchase the class pack. The videos are all there. The only thing that's different from doing it at the same time as us is that the Zoom days are out. So you still get three part 1, 2, and 3 for Lucy, and part 1, 2, and 3 for Velocity. And all the cutting videos and all of that. So any questions? Lots of great quilts. Thank you. So I'm glad everybody found us again. I guess we cut out and started again, but glad everybody's here. I wanted to, now before we do our tip of the day, which is going to be a big part of the show because we're kicking off our Matchmaker series. So this first part of it, I'm just going to do an introduction of how I categorize our quilts, our patterns, and then in the next 4 Tipsy Tuesday shows, we'll dive into each category a lot deeper, and I'll give you lots of more examples. And so it's a really good series to understand how to fit patterns with the fabrics that you have and vice versa. If you want to make a certain pattern, here are some of the things to think about as you choose your fabrics. So, are we ready to go with our tip of the day? Mm-hmm. Here we go. So here's what I get asked the most, both during shows and in person during classes and such. What pattern goes well with this fabric bundle? I have this fabric bundle, but I can't figure out how to cut it. It's too pretty to cut into it. I can't do it. Or I don't know what to do with this fabric. I just bought it because it was pretty, so I have no idea what to do with it. It wasn't a kit, it wasn't a bundle, so what can I do? And honestly, this is my favorite part of the whole quilting journey. And I love seeing fabric, and that sometimes inspires what pattern it is, and sometimes vice versa. I have a pattern, and then I have to really search out the right fabrics that I want in there. So it is my favorite part, and maybe some of you do share that, figuring out what to make with what fabrics, but it's totally okay if it isn't. We all like different parts of the quilting journey, and you can totally be, that can be something that you don't enjoy as much or you struggle with. But you can always pick up some tricks and tips on how to make that process a little easier if you struggle with it. And so here's my theory on this. So I have categorized my patterns into 4 groups, and it really works well for my what I call scrappy patterns. Most of my quilt patterns have some kind of a scrappy element, even though there are exceptions. It's just the way I design. And so this grouping is really going to help you a little bit in figuring out what you need, what appeals to you for the eye, and then also give you some tips on how to choose fabrics, and we'll categorize those patterns so that you can have that help in picking the fabrics. So if that word scrappy scares you, don't be afraid. Sometimes folks that think that scrappy means that you need to throw all the colors of the rainbow into the same quilt, and that you need to do all, like throw them all in there, and you cannot plan anything. And that is as far from the truth as it can be, because scrappy just means you have a variety of different fabrics. They could all be the same color, but what I always have been preaching kind of is that the more variety of fabrics gives your quilt sometimes the life, it takes on a life on its own, gives it a little layers, it gives it, that life of having different values and things. But you definitely do not need to throw everything but the kitchen sink into your quilt for it to qualify as a scrappy quilt. So you can be really refined and picky about your colors. It could be completely monochromatic. You can pick one color and just pick lots of shades of that color. But I just encourage you, if there's something you've been afraid of, that word scrappy, just stick around and consider it, because sometimes using multiple different fabrics really gives the quilt the life that it needs. So let's, in this episode, I want to just talk about the 4 categories, really explain what they're about, and then, like I said earlier, we're going to dive into them later. So we're going to start with this one, and it's called Scrappy Goodness. This category of patterns really are made for the real scrappiness. The scrappiness is what makes the quilt. You don't need any other fabrics, no accents or backgrounds or anything. The beauty is really in the balance of all the shapes of the forms, and then, of course, the fabrics and colors. So some examples of these patterns are, of course, this first one that is up there. That is Strip Search. So this one is a strip quilt. It's one of my early ones, and this quilt I've seen in so many ways, and it's just beautiful as it is with all the fabrics and whatever you throw in there. You just need to have that balance of the colors, of the values, and as long as you spread them out evenly, you are good to go. So I'm sure you've heard the term organized scrappy. Let's put up the next quilt. This is Trinity. And I would say that in a way I am a little bit organized scrappy to a T, but I don't plan everything out. Because as long as you start off with a balanced set of fabrics, no matter how many the fabrics are, you can just make sure that the same ones are just not touching too much. You spread out some of the stronger colors so that everything is even. More variety is always better than less variety. And so that means using more fabrics is going to be easier, but that doesn't necessarily mean using more colors. So let's check out here's algorithm. It's another example. You can still stay within one color or a few colors and have multiple different fabrics from that same color. This one is just black, red, and white, and you can see with the different prints you'll get those different shades of the black. It will turn out as all these different shades of gray, but there's still a lot of different fabrics in there. Same is with fractions here, also just really 3 colors, just gray, white, and red, but you'll see those prints, they're going to add the texture and they're going to add the variety. So when you have that variety of fabrics, once you start putting them together, you just have more options. So let's take a look at, we have Elvira is an example of this one, a very popular, easy to do. Teen Spirit is another one. You can just throw anything at it as long as you start off balanced. And as you can see, these are pretty subtle in color. So not very many colors, but it's super scrappy. And last but not least, just as an example, my Glacial Ice quilt from the Quilts of Iceland book. Really a lot of different fabrics in there because I pulled it all from my stash, but just picked it based on color. So I just went with this very refined colorway, and you can still make it appear that it's not as wild as what we think when we think of scrappy. So the next category I'm calling Scrappy with Focus. So these type of patterns will always have an accent fabric or some kind of an accent color that pulls in your eye and kind of settles it. So sometimes it's just one fabric or just a single color. It could be multiple fabrics in that color that stands out. The rest of the fabrics should be that scrappy goodness. All of them should be really well balanced, just like the category before. So here's another example. We have the Hope pattern. And this one I used actually multiple different yellows for the accent, but it's still going to read as one. It's going to give that quilt focus, and that's what brings your eye to it. Amelie's another version. This version, I just used grays, all kinds of grays, different tones, and then I popped in a color with the accent, and that's really what you see. But the beauty is in the scrappiness of all the other fabrics, even though they kind of settle in the background. It would be no fun if this was just one fabric and then the teal. It would just really not be the same. Valerie's another example of that. Scrappy goodness. And then you just add that accent color. I did that with white on this version of Valerie. And then I was pretty refined in the rest of the colors. So when you choose that scrappy with focus, you want to also make sure that that focus fabrics is going to stand out from all of the other patterns. So, and then we have the Clarissa that we started with. You don't want to have a few of those same colors or same values in there because that's going to mess up the focus print. It's going to mess up the design of the pattern. All right, we have one more in this category, that is matrix. In this case, there's two focus fabrics. We'll call them the hashtags that you see. You have the white and the gray, but you have just that scrappy goodness in the background. It really sits in the back, and it really gives that quilt texture and layers. It feels like you're layering stuff on top of each other. So then our third category is called scrappy with contrast. Now this grouping, each block needs contrast for the pattern to show up. That contrast can be created with either the color of the fabrics that you choose within each block, the value of the fabrics, which is light and dark, or even the texture of the fabric, where you can have something that's really large scale paired with something that's really small scale or almost a solid. And you'll get that difference in contrast. So scrappy with contrast does not necessarily mean scrappy with a single background fabric or a light and dark. It can be, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. So that is how you achieve success with those types of patterns. This is Kira that we saw that little piece of. That's a great example of this one. Now you'll see that there are quite a bit of lights in there. I kind of played with the role of the yellow in the quilt because sometimes the yellow is the lighter one and sometimes it's the darker one in the block. So that kind of really helped me make it more random and give this quilt texture. Then we have Katie is another version of scrappy with contrast, because you choose two fabrics for each block and you just want to make sure that they stand out enough from each other. You can do that like with color, or you can do it with texture. And so this is a great example. Not too many colors, but you just always pair the ones together that you will actually have the block show up. Nova is another example. Of course, I've seen many quilts of Nova where you do lights and darks, but in my case, you can't really call some of these lights or darks. There's some of them just two mediums in a block. And just as long as there's contrast, you're going to see the design. Another example is Emma. Emma quilt could be any color. Again, you want to see those little skinny strips that are kitty-wampas all over the quilt. So you want to make sure that they stand out from the other fabric that it is with. And so easy to do, and you can do it in so many colors. Nina is another example. Nina is a fun one, and even though we tend to, if we're going to do 9 patches, we tend to go light and dark. Doesn't have to be. You can just make sure that you can see the difference between the two. And then Roxanne is another great one. And this version that I made, I played with those lights and darks quite a bit too. So not always a light and dark. Sometimes the green is the light and sometimes the blue is. And so that was fun to play with. So all of these patterns that need contrast for the design to come out could also be done, of course, with a singular background. Here's a Lexi. Here's one more that this one qualifies for. So Lexi, for example, has many times been done with a single background. You'll get more contrast, but this version is one of my favorites because I just played with just the contrast of the two blocks, and it just became really scrappy. So you can always do a color versus a calmer background, but still have multiple fabrics. So then we have scrappy with background. So these types of quilts, this is the fourth category. The thing that really brings the pattern to life in this group is the negative space of the background. That's that calmness of a singular fabric. It really lets the scrappy pieces shine and pulls out the pattern even more. Now, what we could do with many of these is still do a scrappy background. You just don't want them to, if you want to use multiple fabrics for the background, you still want them to be close enough so they're going to pretty much read as the same fabric, but a little bit of texture difference, like low volume prints always works for these, but just make sure that they are close enough so they're not going to read as a different value. Lucy is a great example of this one, although I have done Lucy scrappy, but I usually try and have that then very similar, just like I was talking about. Great with a background, and for all of these patterns, you could do a light or a dark background or a medium background or a color background. Sometimes we tend to think background needs to be white or background needs to be a light color, the lightest color. It does not have to be that. Here's another example of where I used a dark background, Gina. Easy and fun pattern. There's so many quilts in this category. We have Nellie here. And another great one is Gloria. These are both on a light background. Gloria really needs that calmness to really make those fabrics shine. Here's Alberta on a dark background. That looks really good, and really bright colors on a dark background. You see how the dark is just going to fall back. Coral is another one that you just want the scrappiness to shine, and you want that background just to be kind of like that wall color painted behind it, behind the artwork. Frequency, another great one. I mean, I could keep going with this category. Strip stacks, it's another one. And Harmony. Harmony is another, a little bit background heavy, but here's an example of a medium colored background, the tan, because I wanted to use the light fabrics for the blocks, so light and dark. So this is just the introduction to our Matchmaker series. I am going to be diving deep into each of those categories to give you more tips using actual fabrics to show you. So it would be kind of like a little bit of a lesson. So don't miss our next 4 Tipsy Tuesdays for the remainder of the Matchmaker series. So if you have any questions, make sure you post them in the comments. I know this is just the intro, and so if you have questions, we're probably going to answer a lot of that as we dive into the categories. Kathy just says great information, so gorgeous, beautiful. Thanks for the class. It's a class every time I show you fabric. And so take these as we go through these Matchmaker series. Take this information because it's really going to help you if you have fabric and you want to match it with a pattern. You can kind of see first off, is this grouping that I have, is it balanced? Which is why I do these half-yard bundles, but maybe you have some back quarters or a layer cake or something at home you want to use. Always look at the balance, and then you can always pull out, okay, does this need a little focus for it to bring it together? Does it need a background? So play with that. How do you come up with names for your patterns? Some of them resonate with where I was or with the actual design. Some of them I'm named after a person, but they kind of come from all over. Usually it happens during the design phase. Yeah, so all over the place. Most of them are female names, but some of them could be a female or a male, so it's kind of fun. But let's take a look at a couple of things before we look at fabric. I wanted to say that our London Calling, we're now in countdown mode because our first mystery block of the month block goes live on October 15th. That is Sunday, everybody. And so all of you that have joined us are going to join us. The first, and you purchase the digital package, the first block will be live on Sunday. And if you want to purchase just one block at a time, that is the pattern and the video class. The first block can be purchased if you're purchasing individually on Sunday. Now, all of the kits have been shipped. If you pre-ordered a kit or if you reserved one, everybody that paid their invoices, everything has been shipped. We will be listing some more London Calling fabric either later this week or next week if you wanted to just purchase individual pieces. So that is if you reserved a kit and you think you still want your kit, make sure you either find your invoice, which should have came in an email, so that we can take care of that. Or you can always go to your account and look at your purchases when you purchase that fabric reservation. You can click on that and you can take care of it right then and there. If you have trouble, just email us at help@GEQuiltDesigns and we will take care of it. The background fabric, we haven't put any fabric on the website yet, but we will be doing that here in the next few days. We just wanted to make sure we got all the kits that were pre-ordered out so that you can take care of that. How do you prep your fabric? I recommend prepping my fabric. This is what I do. I add a little bit of sizing, either using Best Press or Magic Sizing. Some folks like to use a little bit stiffer, so starch, but that's how I like to prepare them. So I went ahead and did that to all my fabrics except for the borders and the backing. So no need to do that, but I did it to the rest of mine. So I'll be adding a little video how to prep. We played that for you on a Tipsy Tuesday a couple of weeks ago, but I'll be adding that to everybody's account that have purchased the digital package so you can look through that.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Early birthday. So any questions on London Calling? I am so excited to kick this off. The first block is awesome. Really fun to do. So, Koby was walking by. Yeah, he's already laying by the door because it's getting close to his dinner time. He's making sure that he's not forgotten. Speaking of Koby, we have a Koby class happening in our classroom here at the GE headquarters, in-person class. So there's a Koby sew along happening on Thursday at 9 a.m. So if you're local and want to come and make a fun quilt, Koby will even be around, so you can take a paparazzi photo of him with your quilt. He'd love it. He's seasoned. So, Sheila just got her reliable iron, and it's awesome, especially compared to what I was using. That's great. That's great. You got it here really quickly. Yeah, we get shipped done, everybody. We get shipped done. All right, so let's take a look at some of our I have two new lines to show you, and it's really fun now because now you're going to think about things differently as I show you fabric, aren't you? Especially when we go through the Matchmaker series. This first one is called Chateau de Chantilly, and this is French General. This was on pre-order, so I know a lot of you pre-ordered that fabric because I think when I showed you that quilt, you were all over that one. So it's 12 pieces and really refined. So very classic French General that's made by Moda. And I just love this colorway. So it's these beautiful reds. And then we have the neutrals in 3 shades. We have the I would say like light tan. We have the taupish gray, and then kind of the light caramel color. So let me show you these. They're just beautiful. And here is another print, a little bit lighter color, which I like, that there's just a little shade difference. The back color of it, the background color, is that same beautiful rich red. And we have a small print, small floral, kind of a viney print that is beautiful. And then we have the medium, has a little bit of a paisley feel with the shape of the flower buds, but really love this one. And there is, of course, if you can see, a little bit of direction, but once you cut this up, you really can't tell. Then we have another small scale geometric. And as you can see, because of there's more light print in there, it's going to read a little bit lighter. That's going to get what's going to give your quilt that shade difference. And then we threw in a tone on tone here. It looks like a solid, but it's kind of like a light weave color. This red is the same red as over here, just it will read a little bit brighter just because it doesn't have print on it as the others. So 6 reds, and then we have 6 lights, starting with the light tan, same print as we have here in the red. Beautiful classic prints. We have that same as the large scale first print. And I love that this tan one has both of the other tones that I'm going to show you, the gray and then the caramel tone. So here is the gray version with the red flowers. And then the small floral on the gray with the red flowers. So these are acting like our low volumes. And then we have that caramel color in that same small print. And then finally, the medium floral in that caramel color. So the quilt that I made June, and so June calls for, 10-inch squares in lights and darks and 2.5-inch strips, or you could do fat quarters. So that's how I used it. These were my lights, these were my darks, and then you need a background fabric. So the background fabric I used for my June quilt was the color wash in the textured charcoal. And I love the juxtaposition of doing something with very traditional prints, pairing it with something that is super modern. So this is just kind of a textured, kind of a modern print. And then also the color is unexpected, but it fits in perfectly because it is that same dark gray hue that you'll find in here, just a tad bit darker so that everything will stand out. So color wash, textured charcoal. We do have the main print. We have a couple of prints, so we do have the main print available in 1 yards. That red, if you wanted to do something with borders. We also have that same texture print here that we have in the red, available in that beautiful caramel color. So if you wanted to add a little more of that, you can add that in. And then, so for the rest of my pull here, I just pulled another red that would fit in if you wanted to add more. The canvas and the Merlot is a great match. It will read a little bit darker just because it is no print in there. And then another in the caramel would be the grunge in the caramel color. It's a perfect match with both of these. For some of the taupiness, we have an Astra Stellar, also a Moda fabric, but it's a perfect match to that light taupey gray. And then in between would be perfect to use the bumbleberries and the latte color. That's a new color, very light, has a little bit of warmth to it like these, but then has the warm tones or the lighter tones from these prints. Another one that's a little bit in that lighter gray is the Spotted in the Ecru. Now it has the light tones from here. I'm going to put it over here so you can see it better. And then some of the gray spots from the gray prints. And then I brought 2 creams, the tossed triangles in the caramel, and then the Astra in the Milky Way. So they'll fit very nicely with that off-white light creams in here. So this is Chateau de Chantilly. And if you pre-ordered, your orders will be going out in the morning. And we have that in stock. Beautiful. The 1 yards are up on the website as well if you wanted to add to it. And so going from traditional French general, these are classic. Like these fabrics just never go out of style, I feel like. But from that, we're going to go into something a lot more, I would say modern, fresher. So let's take a look at this one. This one is called Moonchild and is a Riley Blake fabric line. Really a beautiful color. So the designer, her name is Fran Gillick, and I really love this tone of purple. I don't know, it's kind of an in-between purple and lavender. I love the peach tones that she paired with it in the flowers, and then that bright yellow just kind of gave me all the feels because that's something so unusual and so fresh. So I love that. So I chose to go with this beautiful purple tone here for a lot of the prints in different hues. So we have that same hue here, little constellations and little flowers. So then we have a directional one, a little bit lighter, so a little bit more lavender here. Just looks like a woven, but it is not. We have an even lighter lavender hue with the stars on it. And then we go into a little bit more peachy tone with a small floral here. But it really, you can see the ombre effect going from the darker to the lighter. And I feel like there's a little shade over here. So this one is a little bit lighter than what it's showing there on the screen. Then there's these peach colors in here. So I added a little bit of the peach tone with the suns on here, but it's going to resonate with all of those tones in the prints. And then we have the blue colorway, the main print here, really nice deep navy, but with the same colors in the flowers. We have a little moon print here on that navy background. And then a medium blue. So again, I love this shade acceleration or deceleration into that medium blue with the flowers and the constellations. And then we have the moths. Really pretty moths these are. So love the branches, and it's a beautiful shade of blue. And then we're going to pop it with that beautiful bright yellow. So a nice kind of a mustard yellow. We have the suns. And then another yellow print is the one with the stars. So of course that yellow is going to stand out quite a bit. So if you wanted to add a little more of it, you could always pull it out and use it as an accent or a focus fabric. But I found two more yellows. The new Louis and Irene Dreams in the yellow color is that really nice tone. And then also the bumbleberries in the mustard. Really great yellows there, perfect fit. For the medium blue, a dash flow in the Allure. It's just a beautiful hue of blue, but it does have a little bit of that purplish, lavenderish undertone. And then the crimp in the Bluebell, also from Dear Stella, a little bit lighter. For the darker navy, more dash flow in the Twilight. And I love that we have that light blue specks on it, so it ties in with that lighter blue. And then another Dear Stella, the Jacks in the sapphire color, also with lighter blue on it. So then we go into the purple story here. We have another dash flow parfait that has the more pink between these two colors, and then the chalk and charcoal in the rose. Another great fit. Into the more lavender, we have a bumbleberries muted lilac. And then the speckle in the lilac color. Both beautiful fits here. And then this is a perfect match. The bumbleberries in the thistle. Lovely, lovely color here with these purples. It's a perfect tone. So then if I were to do something with a background, or even could be used as a focus fabric, a focus color, I would go pretty light on that. So bumbleberries white, which is off-white, it's not a pure white. Or I would do the grunge in the soft clear water. It has a little bit of gray in here that's going to resonate with the darker tones. And so that would be my choice for if you wanted a background or an accent color. So this is Moonchild. Moonchild. Beautiful, beautiful bundle. So any questions you have on these fabrics, also make sure to go to our blog if you want to take a better look at the fabric pulls of the 1 yards that I pulled with it. Remember, we have a quantity discount on our 1 yards every single day. So on the blog, you'll have the fabric pull with links to all the 1 yards if you wanted to check them out. So check that. Let me know if there's any questions. So many gorgeous fabrics, hard to choose. I get it. I get it. It's a beautiful thing that this kind of, the warehouse seconds as my stash. Now you like yellow. It's a really cool yellow color. It's like this really modern tone. I don't know. It's got a little bit of green in it. All right. So remember, tomorrow morning, Colleen will be here with our 1 yard Wednesday deal of the week. Great deals on 1 yard, since you always got something fun to share, how to use those fabrics and other stuff, notion of the day. But we're going to finish with our giveaway question. So all you got to do is answer the question, and then next week we'll pull a random comment and you'll get a $25 gift card. So here's my question. What is another form of art that you've always wanted to try? Now, I've tried pretty much everything, except I went to school, of course, in Iceland, and we did not have pottery like they have here. I've never done like the wheel. That's what I would like to try one day. I'd probably be horrible at it. My kids did it here in school here when they were in high school and loved it. And I was kind of jealous because I have never tried it. And they brought home tons and tons of pottery. What about you? Anything you would like to try? Any art? I mean, you're a quilter now. Hello.
I'm a quilter. I'm a long arm quilter.
Long arm quilter.
That was on my list.
That was never on your list.
It was on my list. It was on my list.
I can't say that I would like to try music because I don't even know where to begin. But pottery, maybe I'll make that happen. I'll keep you updated if I do, because I'm probably
something that I just know I'm not going to be good at.
It's always good to challenge yourself, because if anything, you learn that. Well, and if anything, if you try it, you just learn that, oh, I don't really like this. So move on. Anyways, our next show will be this coming Friday, October 13th. Yes, Friday the 13th. It's going to be a Halloween theme for sure. How can I not? And it's at 12 p.m. Central. Our next Tipsy Tuesday will be October 17th at 4 p.m. Central. So next week, and we will see you here. I hope you enjoyed the show, and join us next week for part 1, the scrappy goodness of Matchmaker. But that's it for us. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next time.